Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa podcast. If you're new, subscribe, drop this video a like, and get involved in the comment section down below. But before we start, we are up for an award. We are in the final of the Football Content Awards. So if you can head over to footballcontentawards.com, click on this area here and learn how to vote. Go onto the voting page, and all you got to do is click best new content creator, little drop down bar, or there'll be a little bar of all the 7 others that have got there. You don't want to vote for them, but you want to vote for Up the Villa podcast. Scroll down to the bottom, agree, and press vote. And that is how you vote for us to win best new content creator at the Football Content Awards. Loads of different categories, and if we can get there, we can win it, then I'd be over the moon. And thank you everybody that's tuned into new little bit of international England content build up to the World Cup. The last reaction video did really well. I know it's not Villa, but we're just trying to create something. We're trying to just get it started, just so that when we get to it in November, that we're in full flow, and YouTube knows that Villa podcast is covering the World Cup. So me and Justin were having a little chat, and we were very unhappy the other day about England, Southgate, everything. So it led me to the idea of, Justin, what's your ideal lineup? And then I thought, I'll do mine. We were going to come up with all-rounded me and Justin vibe, but we couldn't agree on a team. We couldn't agree on the formation. So we've got 2. So we're going to put 2 on the screen. Justin's going to go first. He'll talk you through his team, and then I'll put mine on. And we want you guys at home to put your teams in the comment section down below. So let me just get rid of that. Share the screen again for you. So, Justin, you're going to talk us through this then?
Yep.
Right.
This is obviously for the start of the World Cup, because there's some players here that aren't, namely Tyrone Mings, you can see straight away, who's not in the squad currently. So this is realistically for my ideal starting 11 for the first game of the World Cup. So we've sacked Gareth Southgate off. We're now in charge. So I've gone with Ramsdale in goal. I know Pickford I think he'll be fit for the World Cup, but I do think Ramsdale's probably been the standout English keeper this season. I think Arsenal have had a good start to the season, and he's a very good keeper. And to be honest, I like his personality. I like the way he's a bit Emi Martinez like, isn't he? In the way he's a bit of a shithouse, isn't he, for Arsenal? So yeah, I like him. I like he's infectious, and he's also a very good goalkeeper. So that's why I've gone for Ramsdale. I don't think there's a better right back than Alexander-Arnold. I know his form has been a bit up and down over the last sort of 18 months, and he's had a little bit of stick from some of the Liverpool fans. I still think he's the current best English right back in the league, so he would start there. Left back's a difficult one, because the current 2, Chilwell and Shaw, that are in the squad, are both not in their respective starting lineups for their club sides. But you've got to pick an English player, and I'm not a fan of playing a right back at left back that Gareth Southgate does. I think we've got 2 decent enough left backs there. I think Luke Shaw did.
What about a left wing back?
Well, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's one of his biggest failings. I did and ah with playing Saka there, because he has played there for Arsenal, but I don't think he's played there for a while now. So I think it would be a bit of a stretch to drop him back in at left back. And I think Luke Shaw had a good tournament, the last tournament we had, so I think he just about edges ahead now for me. Centre half wise, John Stones for me, probably the outstanding English centre half at the moment. Again, not a regular for his club side, but he does play for Man City, so that's they do rotate a lot there. And I think Tyrone Mings deserves to go back in. His England record is pretty much outstanding, unblemished. I think he's another leader on the pitch. He's very vocal. And I think he's getting better and better for us this season as well. I think it would be really harsh if he didn't even get to the World Cup in the squad. I think he deserves to get into the squad. Looking at the centre halves that are currently within that squad, for me, Mings deserves to be in the squad, and I would actually start him. I'm going for a 4-2-3-1 because I think that's the best formation in my opinion. This is where me and Luke disagreed earlier when we was talking. Because I think Bellingham and Rice complement each other very well in that position. I think Rice is a more defensive six, so he can drop back in and help the two centre halves out. If Shaw and Alexander-Arnold bomb on forward, he naturally will drop back in and help out. And Bellingham really is an all-rounder, isn't he? He can do everything. He can sit. He's good on the ball. His passing range is good. He's good defensively, and he goes forward. He drives the ball forward and he scores goals. He's got everything you want really for an all-round midfielder. So yeah, I think they complement each other well. I think with obviously the other one is Calvin Phillips, but I think Bellingham is just a better footballer than Calvin Phillips. I think he brings more to the team than Phillips would. And then the 4-2-3-1 allows you to play three attacking midfielders, and we're not short of them there. Phil Foden, outstanding talent. Don't really need to say much about him. He's probably the standout attacking midfielder in the country, English midfielder, sorry, in the country. And we all know about Jack Grealish. I think he made an impact the other day when he came on. I still think he's the best ball carrying player in this side. He draws fouls, he creates openings, and at his best, he's a handful, isn't he? We all know about Jack, and I still think he was underused at the last two tournaments. Definitely in the last one, Southgate just wouldn't pick him at all, and he was in good form. So I would start him there. And Mason Mount, another one that's not in good form this season. And he's in and out of his club side. But for me, I think those three complement each other really well. Mount can also drop slightly back deeper as well if needs be to help out, as can Foden. And I think Harry Kane picks himself for obvious reasons. He's going to be our all-time record English goal scorer. And, if you want to get anywhere in a tournament, you've got to score goals, haven't you? So that's why Harry Kane starts for me up front. So that is my starting 11 for the World Cup in about a month, about 8 weeks' time, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be fair, we have got quite a few players very, very similar. So I do like your team, Justin, but
Have I talked you around now?
I prefer mine. So
Yeah.
here we go. This is mine. So Sam Michoud, Ramsdale. I like his character. Feels like a
Yeah,
bit like an old school footballer, doesn't he?
yeah,
Bit of a character. The way he is, the way he reacts to goals going in and stuff. I really like him. I think his kicking is a lot better than Pope's as well. Whereas Fort Pope the other day, his kicking was just woeful, wasn't it? I think that sort of didn't help England either. Like you said, right back, Trent, phenomenal class. How he doesn't get in this side is mind blowing. To be fair, I've gone with Stones, same as you. I've gone with Mings. I think Mings is back to the old Mings,
yeah,
the reliable Mings at Villa, the stature, the presence, the leader, everything that Villa have lacked from having the poor Mings, we've now got because he's back and he looks more stable. And we're not shipping in loads of goals. He's not making loads of mistakes. His England record is up there. So I think he deserves to be back in the squad at least. Same as you with Shaw. I think on the left-hand side, we're not blessed with players in form, are we? Both have been injured. Both have been out the sides of their club's teams. So I think I would go with Shaw. And now this is where I have gone a little bit different to Justin. I think this three allow Rice to drop a little bit deeper into that back four maybe. And I've gone with Bellingham and Foden in central midfield. I think Foden's guile, his eye for a pass would be brilliant in this role. And then my front three, I've gone with Sterling, Kane, and Grealish. I mean, Grealish, he very rarely has a bad game for England, does he really? I think the only one that I could recall him having a bad one was at the Molineux, was it the Hungary defeat, where I
yeah,
thought he started that game and he didn't really look that great. But I've gone with a 4-3-3. I think that's the strongest team I could come up with. And I'd say that it still allows Rice to just drop a little bit deeper. So that is the team that I would go with. But I think both are pretty good teams, aren't they, Justin?
yeah, definitely. I just at the moment I can't have Sterling. I just can't have him. I'm not having him for England at the moment. I think when he's on top form, he looks a threat, but he just doesn't look a threat at the moment, does he? I think the move to Chelsea, with the Chelsea changing the manager as well, hasn't helped him settle in there very much. But I think he's got a lot to do. But he's one of the Southgate favourites, isn't he? So I would expect he would probably get a start at the World Cup. And
Yeah.
he's had a good couple of tournaments, to be fair.
So it's Germany up next at Wembley, which is again going to be a really, really difficult game. They've not had the best of Nations Leagues. They're sitting in third place. They also lost to Hungary, who have absolutely smashed it. And, it's always a tough game against Germany. They've got a good, solid team, haven't they? They always turn up at the World Cup. But I would look at this side and would say it's one of the would you say it's one of the weakest going into a tournament? I mean, you can never write them off, but I don't know. Would you be fearful of playing Germany in the World Cup?
It's funny, really, because I watch England, but I don't watch a lot of international football regularly. And you've just put that on the screen, and there's a few players I don't really know a lot about. I don't really know much about the left back, the right back, the other centre half. Obviously, we know all about Rudiger. I know about Kimmich and Gundogan, Gnabry, Muller, Sane. Yes, we know about them. I can't see who's number 9 is because it's underneath the thing bar. Who
Timo
is it?
Werner.
Timo Werner. Okay. Yeah, so we know a lot about them, but yeah, I mean, Thomas Muller, what's he, about 47 now? So, he's about his 73rd major tournament, isn't it? Yeah, they got some good players, haven't they? They have got some good players, and there will be a threat, but that's not, for me, a World Cup winning team. And I think they're in a very similar vein of form to what we are, aren't we? Who'd have said when that group was picked that us and Germany would be third and fourth? So I think that just shows the transition that they're going through as well.
I mean, this was their average positions against Hungary as well. Pretty attacking, do you think, Justin?
Well, I think they went 1-0 down early, didn't they? So I think and they were at home. So I think they had to go for it. That probably replicates what you're seeing on the screen there, was, they're just bombing on, trying to get something. And Hungary just sat back, I think, and soaked up the pressure and won the game 1-0. So that probably is why that the average positions were more or less all of them over the halfway line. But you can't disagree that Hungary have had a phenomenal Nations League. I still don't understand the Nations League, if I'm brutally honest. I don't understand how the setup or anything like
Well,
that works.
the thing is with that Nation League now, I mean, to me, it's going to have a negative effect on England, because if you're in Group B, there's worse teams that would
Yeah.
be in Group A. So your friendlies are going to be against not the best types of teams you could be playing anyway. So it's still going to give that false narrative of you could smash Group B, but when you come up against anyone half decent, you're going to struggle. So I
Which is
just,
why Gareth Southgate's kept hold of his job for so long, because, as most England teams will beat 80% of the teams in the world, even 90% of the teams in the world, because our groups, our qualifying groups for Euros and for World Cups, we normally fly through, don't we? This has obviously been a tough draw for us. We're not playing well. And then you get to the big games where it really matters, and that's where we go missing. So it's that they're the key games, aren't we? That's where you really need a top manager to get that get you over the line in the tight games, and that's where for me, that's where we lack. I think if you put any single Premier League manager into the England job, they would do identical to what Southgate's done, but probably better, because they've got the experience to get us over the line in the real key games, like the Croatia game at the World Cup in the semi-final, where we needed somebody to tactically take us away from them. We couldn't do it. And then against Italy as well, 1-0 up early in the final, and we don't win the game. And that's, for me, Southgate's biggest problem. He's tactically, he's very poor.
yeah. So I'm just having a look at Germany's fixtures since losing to England in the Euros. They went on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They went on a 8-game winning streak, and they drew with the Netherlands. And then their recent form is drew to Italy, drew to England, drew to Hungary, beat Italy, and then lost to Hungary. So their form actually hasn't been that bad. So that would suggest that they're not as bad as what I've just said they are. But if we have a look at England's form since we lost to Italy in the final, we beat Hungary, Andorra, drew to Poland, beat Andorra, drew to Hungary, beat Albania, beat San Marino 10-0, beat Switzerland, beat Ivory Coast, lost to Hungary, drew to Germany, drew to Italy, lost to Hungary, lost to Italy. We've got Germany coming up, and then we're into the World Cup. First game is against Iran. Then we've got USA and then Wales. So, yeah.
I mean, we should get through that group, shouldn't we? This is another thing. We'll get through the group, and then it's who you get drawn against in the second phase, isn't it? So, it's for me. If we don't get out the group, he's definitely gone. But I would still expect us to we should fly through that group. And if we get through with a 1-0, a 0-0, and a 1-0, then it's just alarm bells again, isn't it?
Yeah,
we should be hammering Iran. We should be hammering. America are okay these days. They've got some half decent players, but we still should be beating them. And Wales will be a tight game because it's local. It's almost like a derby, isn't it? And they'll be well up for that, so that'll be a tough game. But we still should win that group comfortably. We should win all 3 games, in my opinion.
Definitely. So we shall be back on Monday evening for our match reaction. We'll see what that's like, and then it's just back with our Villa content.
To be honest, we could record that one now, mate. I think we can say exactly what's going to happen now. Just put it out.
Should we just change the thumbnail?
Should a match reaction before the game? That'd be a first.
Cool. Right. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll speak to you soon.
Up the